unofficial military source said that some army and security units are still chasing members of the terrorist groups in the city of Banyas and in some villages of Derعا countryside. The source added that several scores of the wanted were arrested and big quantities of various advanced weapons and ammunition were seized. The source said that the direct confrontations resulted in the wounding of 10 army members, including 2 officers, as well as the killing or wounding of several terrorist gangsters. Here are confessions of some armed gangsters who attacked the houses of military men in the village of صيدا in Derعا last Friday. They opened heavy fire at random. The guards and the residents confronted them. 1 sergeant was martyred and 2 soldiers were wounded. Dozens of the gangsters were killed and wounded, while 156 of them were captured, together with 50 motorcycles and large amounts of weapons and money.
اسمي محمد أحمد عياش مواليد 1976.
I was born in 1976. I live in al-Khail to the east of Darعا. I have a degree from al-Sharia college in the University of Damascus. After graduation, I traveled to Saudi Arabia in search of work. I knew a man named Saud al-Utaybi in a school in Riyadh. He showed me a plan of several parts. He was convincing. He told me that the regime in Syria was fighting against Islam. He told me that they were planning to bring down the Syrian regime. He told me also that we must fight against all those who oppose this plan at any price and with all means. He said we must fight the men and capture their women and children as hostages. He promised me a lot of money if I took part in this plan. I came home and he began to send me money. He sent me £500,000 Syrian pounds through al-Lilsiyid and al-Fuad exchange offices. I tore the receipt in order to hide the source of the money. Together with 5 others, we bought weapons. Al-Utaybi promised to send us more money. On Friday, we went towards the officers' houses in Siada in Derعا in order to kill the men and to capture the women and children. Our task was to open heavy fire at the guards. Other armed groups would then come to carry out the plan. We made the guards believe that we were peaceful. Then we suddenly opened fire. The guards were surprised by more than 1 group of trained and professional gangsters armed with hand grenades and machine guns. We carried out a real massacre in the houses and ran away. Other groups had reached the houses and clashed with the guards. The aim was to kill a large number of army officers and guards and to capture their weapons. There were more than 10 armed gangs of 4 or 5 members each. The gangsters didn't know each other. The leader of each group told his followers what to do. We walked peacefully before people and security men in order not to make them feel that we intended to do so.
Abdullah Sami al-Yabrudi, another member of the armed terrorist gang, admitted his role in his group.
I was born in the year 1985. I lived in Walid. Last Thursday, Sheikh Surur al-Rifai invited several young men in the evening, and he convinced them to attack the houses and to capture the weapons of the guards. Some of them refused to do so. He gave them money. He gave me 2,000 Syrian pounds and a pistol. On Friday, Sheikh al-Rifai called for demonstrations, claiming that these demonstrations would be peaceful, so we marched towards the houses.
Walid Qasim al-Udat, a member of the terrorist gang, said that the aim of attacking the military houses in the village was to capture the weapons of the guards and to rape the women.
Walid Qasim al-Udat. I was born in Basra, Sham in 1989. Sheikh Ismail Ibrahim al-Baraghthi told us to go to the houses in صيدا to take the weapons of the guards and to rape their women. He gave us a fatwa that such acts were halal because the soldiers were Jews. He gave us weapons and 6,000 Syrian pounds each. He told us to attack the houses after the Friday prayers. We carried various weapons. As we approached the houses, we opened fire at the guards. The clash led to the fall of casualties among us. Some were killed and others were wounded.
The following statements are by some wives of military men in Siada residential neighborhood who came under those heinous crimes.
A demonstration took to the street. Participants were shouting, "Peaceful, peaceful." When the marchers got to the center of Siada town, they started to shoot at the army. I wish the army would hit with an iron fist because we are unable to return to our houses in the town as our lives are at risk.
At 2:30, shots were fired. At this case, we don't get out of the houses at all, especially most of them contain women and children. We closed the doors and kept waiting. Shooting continued for hours. I asked myself, why is this happening? Why is the army being targeted though it is protecting the nation and their members are our sons?
Those who took part in the demonstration were shouting, "Peaceful, peaceful," at the beginning, but when the march got a little far away, shooting started. The gunmen came out from the fields, but the army managed to catch them.
Armed groups in the city of Tartus attacked public properties in the villages of Al-Rawda and Dahir Safra. The residents of both towns stress that the aim of the armed gangs is to create chaos and spread panic among the citizens, but their goal is doomed to fail. A group of terrorist armed groups broke yesterday into the radio and TV center in Hama, breaking its doors and ransacking its contents. The terrorist gang set fire into Hama Governorate building. A police source pointed out that 400 protesters, including armed terrorist gangs driving more than 100 motorcycles, attacked the public square and burnt several shops and public buildings. The security men interfered and arrested a number of them while dozens fled. Zakaria Mutlaq, a young man from Homs, tells how he was deceived to giving a false testimony as an eyewitness on one of the space channels and how he was recruited for this purpose. When he was in the university, he knew a young man from Der'a named Mohammed al-Zabi who went to Saudi Arabia after graduation, while Mutlaq returned to Homs. However, they remained in touch with each other. Al-Zabi asked him for information about the events in Syria, promising him to send him a visa to go to work in Saudi Arabia. Mutlaq added that al-Zabi asked him one day to talk to the BBC TV channel and to say that security forces opened fire on demonstrators and killed some of them. When the channel asked him about the effect of the reforms in the street, he should say that the reforms were useless, too late, and that the regime should be brought down. On Friday, April 22nd, al-Zabi told him what to say when the TV station contacted him. So he gave the false testimony, claiming that 20 demonstrators were killed. But he remained in his house 7 kilometers away. Yet he claimed there were barricades and machine guns. He also claimed that demonstrations would continue. al-Zabi then contacted him, thanking him for his false testimony and promising him to have a satellite phone. al-Zabi also told him that a group of terrorists would give him weapons to be smuggled into Homs. However, he refused. al-Zabi also asked him to contribute donations to help the people of Der'a. He collected 12,000 Syrian pounds for this purpose.